Hi, good day, everyone. My name is Posham. I'm a cloud architect with Oracle. I want to show you something interesting, uh, you know, to show you how to create an autonomous database. I mean, which is very trivial, of course, but more importantly, how you can stress test it using Swingbench. And why you want to do that? There are some instances where you would be doing this. So let me go through my presentation. And by the way, a link to a document will be provided in the description of the YouTube uh, description. All right, so I'm going to post this on YouTube, and you should be able to get a link for all this document and also another document that I'm going to share. All right, so just keep that in mind. Moving on. So what is Swingbench? It's essentially a tool created for stress testing Oracle databases with either OLTP or data warehousing workloads. And by running two instances of Swingbench, actually, you can create a mixed workload also. And this is created by a gentleman called Dominic Giles. And this tool is available on this website. All right. And this also can be used for reverse POCs. So for example, you're running an application inside on-prem. It has got a storage system, you've got an application, and it is delivering certain number of transactions per minute or second. Now you're thinking of moving to Oracle Cloud and you want to know how fast it is going to be. So one way would be run this Swingbench in your on-prem environment on the same storage subsystem, same database, and same application server, and you run the Swingbench in OCI, Oracle Cloud. And then you can compare the difference, compare the performance difference. All right. And this tool, what I'm going to show you is how to create a transactional workload, which represents something like an order entry application. So let's say you go to Amazon.com and you look at products, and you want to place an order. So first thing you need to do is you need to register on that website. So when you register, basically what it means is there's going to be an entry into the customer's table. When you place an order, then it's going to be entries into the orders table and so on, right? So the demo is going to be something like this, very simple. In Oracle Cloud, you can create a VCN, Virtual Cloud Network, and then there's actually a wizard using which you can create a VCN within a minute or so. So when you create a VCN with a wizard, it lets you create a public subnet and a private subnet. So that's the first step. And I'm going to do this from my laptop. And my laptop runs Windows. And Windows comes with a lightweight VM, Linux VM called Git Bash. And I'm going to go over the internet and log into my cloud account, and I'm going to create the VCN, and I'm going to create a autonomous database that's going to be secured by this private endpoint. That means you cannot directly access it from the internet. You have to go through this private endpoint. So here are the steps, right? Create VCN for step number 1. Step number 2 is create an autonomous transaction processing database using this VCN. To secure it using this private endpoint. And the third thing is create a VM, Linux VM. And when you create this Linux VM, make sure that you use a developer image because that comes with SQL Plus, which we are going to use later. And the next thing is define ingress rule. Now, to access this autonomous database, you need to allow SQLnet traffic on port 1522. So there's going to be an ingress rule on this subnet. Then you create a Swingbench user in this autonomous database. And the next thing is you install Swingbench software. And I'm going to show you how to do all that. After that, you're going to create a schema. Within this user, we are going to create a bunch of tables and populate those tables with initial data set. So I've got all the commands for that. And then after that, we are going to create a OLTP workload from this VM, right? Think of this VM as an application server. And then after that, we are going to generate, after this benchmark is completed, let's say we run it for 5, 10, or 1 hour. Then after that, we are going to create a summary report, all right? And then we can look at the summary report. After that, if you want to scale up this data, let's say you run it for an hour, it created about, let's say, a terabyte of data. I mean, if you want to scale it up to 10 terabytes or 20 terabytes, I mean, you don't want to run this Swingbench for so many hours. So there is a simple technique using which you can increase the data volume, and I'm going to show you that also. So the thing I was talking about was creating an ingress rule. So on the private subnet, there is a security list. So on that security list, you just add this last line, right? You say, I want to allow traffic from this public subnet 10.0.0.24 and allow traffic onto this port, destination port of 1522, all right? So that's what you have to do. And I'm going to do the live demo with it, okay? So here I have Oracle Cloud. So I can show you how I got autonomous database. So this is my VM and this is my autonomous database. Now, if you want to create a VCN, it's very simple. You just show you create virtual cloud networks, and very quickly you say I want to use a wizard, and you can create this kind of VCN or this kind of VCN. And when you do this wizard and just ask you for a name, you specify the name, right? You specify the name here and in this compartment, and then you specify the CIDR block, and it's going to tell you that I'm going to create a public subnet and a private subnet, and then you say next. So let's just put a name as here, sorry, just VCN. So next, and then you just say create, right? So it just does it within a minute or so, okay? So that's number one. Then you create a autonomous database. So database, you go to autonomous transaction processing database. And so it's already there, actually, this is already existing, but to create an autonomous database, you give a name, ATP2, and ATP2. And here I want to create a transaction processing database, serverless. I can create 19CR23 AI, and default it gives you 2 eCPUs. By the way, 4 eCPUs equal to 1 core. All right. So 1 core is equal to 4 eCPUs. So here it's not even a core, it's just a half a core. All right. And then this is the storage. That's the default. I'm just showing you how to do that. You enter the password. So okay. So you have to make sure that you're meeting the rules, but more important, this is the private endpoint. So you want to secure the autonomous database using the private endpoint. So you pick that VCN that you create, and within that you pick the private subnet. So that's what you need to do. And then you say create autonomous database. So within a matter of 5 minutes, it's going to create that autonomous database, okay? So that's step number 2. Then the next thing is you want to create a VM. So creating instances is very simple. So here, create a VM. And there you say, I want to a VM2, just give a name and any one of the available to domains. Now here, I suggest you change the image. So I'll show you what image you need to pick. So this is the image you pick, all right? So this is the image you pick. This is the, basically it comes with SQL Developer. Okay, so that's what you need to do. Then you accept the terms and conditions. Then the next thing that you do is actually the shape, right? You go to change the shape, and you can pick whatever shape you want, Intel or AMD. I picked AMD. Okay, So that's the second step, and you say next, and then you go to networking. Next, you see the VCN name. Select an existing VCN, and there is already a VCN that you created, right? And you existing subnet. So this is a public subnet, and automatically assigns a IP address. So that's what you do, and you upload your SSH key, the public key file, which I did that, and after that you just say next. Okay, I did not select all this, right? So, but you get the point. After that, you just say create, and it creates the VM within a second, within a couple of minutes. All right. So that's what you do. I already created that, and you can see my, it allocated a public IP address. See that? That's a public IP address. So what I want to show you is a spreadsheet. This is the spreadsheet that I'm going to share. All right. And again, you can get the link from the YouTube description. So these are the steps that you follow, and you create the VCN. Just note down the name of the VCN. All right. We'll be using that subsequently. And create an autonomous transaction processing database, and you just enter all these yellow fields, you just update it as you go through the process, right? So this is whatever is the password that you entered for the autonomous database, you enter it here, and wherever. Now, what we're going to do is for the autonomous database, so this is the autonomous transaction processing database. You download the wallet, right? So see this database connection, download the wallet, and you enter, the password you want to enter. Then, so when you download, it downloads a particular directory, and so it is, right? This is where it is downloaded. But this one, actually, I copied into my directory here. That is here. So in this directory, I have the wallet file. So that's what I have. So if you look at this path, that's what I saved it here. This is the path where I have my wallet file. All right, and you will see why I'm needing this path, and this is the wallet file name. Then create app server VM, and this is the path where I have my private key. All right, so this is the file app server private key, and this is the IP address of the VM, right? The public IP. So you just make a note of that, because we are going to use those commands. We are going to use those. Think of those things as parameters. So first thing that you do is you log into the VM. So here you do. So I have git bash. If you're using Linux or Macintosh, Apple Mac machines, you already have a terminal thing. But in Windows, there's a lightweight VM, Linux VM called git bash. So that's this one. So you paste that. This is a command that is generated for you, by the way. You don't need to, create this command. It's already generated for you based on the input that you provided. So then you take this, you download the Swingbench, and just, all right. This is for repeatability. I'm deleting the previous installation. So that is downloaded. Then I'm saving the configuration file of the Swingbench. So that's the next step. Just it here. So the configuration file, I'm going to be using it later. I'm just taking a backup. Then what you do is create the Swingbench user, right? So here in this window, first thing what you do is you exit the window. So what you do is you copy the wallet file. You copy the wallet file. See, this is the command that is generated for you. So you see, I'm copying to this virtual machine, and this is a command for that. So just copy, paste it here, and that will be copied to the VM in just a second. Okay, so that is copied. Then the next thing that you do is you log in back to the VM, paste it here. And by the way, what you do is, oops. So whatever you see in this full blocks, right? So these things you just copy and paste. What this Visual Basic thing is. Okay. So you are, let me hide that. Okay. So I did that. So I'm back in the VM. So now what you do is you copy these commands. I'm sorry, you already did SSH. So you go to uh, the directory, remove the SQLite file. Uh, so this is for repeatability. So what you do is, if you want, what I'm doing with this is, uh, so that I can explain. What I'm doing is this command, right? The previous directory, SQLite directory, I'm just deleting it. And I'm creating a directory and I'm unzipping that wallet file that I copied it and then I'm setting the TNS admin parameter. Now here, when you do this, right? So just let me show you what I'm doing. All right, so now if you see the SQLite file, right? Cat SQLite.ora. See, there is a question mark here. It doesn't have the complete path. So to fix that, what we are going to do is we are going to just do a stream editor to fix the path. So here, is it? So that is done. I do that. So now if you do a cat file, oops. Oh, sorry, not that. Cat file. Yeah. See that? Now the path is fixed. See that? That is what this sed command did. Now you log into, see whether you can connect to the autonomous database. So that's the test you're going to do. See, now we are able to connect to autonomous database. Then the next thing that you do is you enter the schema name, the username actually, and what is the password for that user, the benchmark user you can, right? And then these are the commands to create that user. So copy that and paste it here. All right. And once that user is created, it is taking a few seconds because there is already a user existing in the autonomous database because I ran this test already. Now we are going to create, we are going to seed you are going to create a schema. Basically, this command, what it's going to do is it's going to create a bunch of tables and populate them. All right. So that's what it's going to do. And you may see that error while gathering the statistics. You can ignore that for now because we're going to fix it later. All right. So that is what we're going to do next. So this is the command for validating the schema. So this is going to take a few more seconds. Okay. So, and again, you don't have to just watch this screen. You can just move to you can just fast forward the video. This is going to just take another few seconds, okay? Let me see if I can pause the recording. Okay. Okay, so it just went past that error. They're going to fix that error in just a second. So now what it's doing is it's adding these constraints, then it's creating the indexes next, right? So that's what it's completed. Then if you want to validate the schema, just see if everything is good, just place those commands and it should come back and saying that, yes, there are 10 tables, 26 indexes, 5 sequences, and so on, right? Everything is good. Now, let's gather the statistics. So that's what we are going to do. All right, this is going to gather the statistics of the schema. Then after that, we are just going to do a row count. So let's do a row count. So now we are going to So it just tells you how many tables, what are the tables, how many rows are there, and how many blocks, what is the size, all that, right? So that's what you see here. Now, next thing that we are going to do is, now we are going to create a OLTP workload. So now to control the transaction profile, you can say these are the weights you can provide. If you want lots of new customers, you can increase this number. If you want lots of customers who want to create the orders, so you can increase them 40 to 50, 60, whatever you want. This total doesn't have to be 100. These are all just weights. All right. And then next thing is when we run the command subsequently, we want to just create the number of connections, so many connections at a time, then wait for 300 milliseconds. Then the total number of connections is 20. So that's, we don't want to create a connection storm. That's what it is actually. And then how long you want to run the benchmark. So that's this and so on, right? So what you do is you just enter all these parameters, or you can just keep whatever is there, and then you run these commands. So what these commands do is actually they are going to update the configuration file. There is see this, that configuration file. For repeatability, I'm just restoring the backup file. And so you just copy these commands from here all the way down here. All the way down here. So go to this. No, that's not what you did. You copy this, paste it. Okay, so all that you've done. Now, what you do is you just see whether those changes are made. So you can just cat that file. So that you can check whether those changes were made to the configuration file. Then I'm going to create the transaction workload. And it says 2 minutes, right? If you change this number, see this at the bottom, this line, it says 2 minutes. Oops. It says 2 minutes. I can change it to 3 minutes if you want, or 5 minutes. So just change this to, let's say 3 minutes, just for fun. So this is what it's going to do. Say it's automatically changed. But I'm just going to keep it as it is, because I don't want you to look at the screen for too long. So just copy this and paste it in this window. All right. So now what it's doing is actually it is opening 20 connections to the database, and this is what you see. TPM is transactions per minute, transactions per second, second column, new customer registrations, updating customer, and so on and so on, right? So you can see all that in this. So this is going to run for 2 minutes. So I'm going to just pause the recording. Pause the recording. Just about to finish this. So let's see. It's going to be over within another few seconds. All right. Oh, actually, while that's going on, I should have opened this window. Query the rows, right? So I just forgot to do that. So what you do is you open another window, call it window 2. And within that window, what you do is you open a same thing, copy, log into the VM, just another, same VM, just another session. And then what you do is you run these commands, right? Just run these commands just to find out the number of rows. So see that it should be the same. Maybe it's already completed, that benchmark. So it's already completed actually. So while that benchmark is going on, you are supposed to go to this window and see how the number of rows were increasing. Actually, that was the idea, but sorry, I missed that. So you can, while this benchmark is going on, just go to the second window and run these commands and see for yourself how the rows are increasing, all right? So that is completed. So now we want to format these results, right? The benchmark results. So the way you do it is, see, this is where my results file, XML file is generated. So that's what it said, right? This is the XML file which is generated in this particular directory, bin directory. So that's the directory. So that's what I have it here. And this is the file name. And we want to generate a PDF file which is more readable. And for that, what you do is you just run these comments. Okay, so I'll go to this and just paste it here. So it just formats those results. Okay, that's done. And it generated that results PDF file. Okay. And then what you do is you want to copy that file back to your Windows machine. So what you do is for that, first thing you do is go to Windows 1, this window 1, exit from here. That's what this is telling you. Then the next thing is you copy that XML file, I'm sorry, the PDF file back to your laptop. So copy that and then just paste it here. So it's going to copy to your directory, right? So that's what, so here it should be copied here. So see, just copied here. This is 238, this is 238. So if you look at this, it just tells you the whole story about the benchmark, when it started, right? And then how many connections, how long was the benchmark, and sleep time between the transactions and so on. But here is the interesting part. So the total completed transactions is 152,000 rows, transactions, and average transactions per second is 1,270. Maximum transaction rate is 79,000 transactions per second. Yep. Now this is the transactions per second. So this is, I think then this must be per minute. Yeah, this is per minute. So now keep going down. So customer registrations. So we had 18,000 new customers within that 2 minutes window. That's what it means actually. And this is the response time. So 90th percentile, that means 90% of the transactions were completed within 18 milliseconds. 50th, they did it within 8 milliseconds per transactions. That is, per customer, it took only 8 milliseconds. By the way, the autonomous database is running with only 2 eCPUs, which is half a core. So if you bump it up, you can reach thousands of transactions per second. All right. So this gives you the idea, updating the customers. So this is how much time it took. Browsing the product, which is select operations. So 61,000 times we selected, and you see the response time, right? 80th percentile is 6 milliseconds, and ordering products. So we created 49,000 orders, right? And this is the the response time. The 90th percentile is 19 milliseconds. It's very, very small. And processing the orders and so on. So that you get the idea. So that's what this one is. And as I said in the beginning, if you want to increase the number of rows by double, triple, this is number of times, and this is the degree of parallelism. So you can go to Windows 2, you can just copy this. And so let's see. Here, you just paste it. Now what we are doing is actually, we are doubling up the number of rows. So here, see, the last time we had 118,000 rows in the customers table and 192,000 rows in the orders table and so on, right? That's what we had. And after this is completed, you will see the number of rows will be double. So I'm going to run that. Now to find the number of rows, the command is very simple. Go here, query the number of rows here. So in that window, see this command, so called plus, and you can just do this actually, just copy and paste this, right? So let's try that. So iteration 1 completed, it took 33 seconds, I think. So this is the fastest way of increasing the size of the data, right? This is the fastest way. So of course, you need to have more CPUs to speed it up, all right? And it should be over 2 seconds. All right. So I create the constraints. So the data is scaled up. Now it's creating the constraints. It's now creating the indexes. Update the sequences. Showing the number of new rows. Got the new rows counts completed. Anyway, so it tells you that there are original was 858,000 rows. In the orders table, order items table, customers table 118,000 rows. And all right, so orders table had 192,000 rows, right? So now let's check whether we now the new number of rows is order items table is 1.7 million and customers table is 236,000. So let me just run this command, all right, to make sure that we have that many rows. Yes, that. So you can see 1.7 million rows in the order items, customers is 236,000 rows. So that's what this one was telling you, right? So hopefully that was helpful. Again, you can customize this for your environment. And if you want to test it in your cloud tenancy, it's very easy. You just need to update this yellow fields. And after that, all the commands are generated for you. So this is the whole idea is to help you speed up the testing. All right. All right. So with that, I wish you a good rest of the day and you have, yeah, thank you very much. You have a good day. Bye-bye.